Hi everyone, Sandy here. Welcome back again to my YouTube channel. In this video, I have a little retro Min one card sheet folio that I created as my third project using this paper collection for Country Craft Creations. I'm going to show you this little project, and then I'll also have a tutorial following so that you can create one for yourself out of the same paper or using another collection. Now, I did use the scraps that I had left over from the pattern paper, and the pages inside are created out of pattern paper. So just your cover and the closure flaps here are made out of your cardstock. I did use one sheet gray artisan cardstock for my cover and one or two sheets of craft artisan cardstock for mats and photo mats to tuck in and for matting. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this real quick. It is 7 3/4 wide by 4 tall. It does not have a spine on the side. Now, if you wanted a little extra width here, you could scoot over and make an extra 1/4 inch score. I did not. I've made several of these, and I just leave them this way flat on the outside, and then I've got where it's kind of thicker here in the middle. I kind of like it that way. So that's how I made mine. Here on the front, I've added some metal items from my stash. This large metal clock, it kind of helps hold it down. I did not use a magnet. If you want to use a magnet, you would have to add it to the front of the flap underneath here, and then underneath here on this left flap. So to the front of the right flap and to the back of the left flap before you add your pattern paper. I did not add a magnet on this. I'm just using the metal and the tie to hold it all together. So this is a large, heavy metal clock with the added hands. And then this is just for looks. This is a latch. It does flip up, but it does not actually hold it closed. And then I closed it with the button string twine that you can order from Country Craft Creations. And here on the back, the string is held down with one of the cut aparts. So let's just untie it and take a quick look at it before we get started on the tutorial. So you open it up. Here on the left inside, you have a little pocket from one of the cut aparts and a tag that I made using a staple and some of the button string. I used throughout the album different sizes of black flat back enamel dots and metal gears and things that are in my stash. On this side, I've left this open so that you can attach a photo there on the inside there. So this opens up. Here on the left side, I have a buckle and a gear. This flaps. This is a little pocket. I use a lot of the cut aparts or the elements to create my pockets and tuck spots. This is gears, kind of got a belly band, so this just slides in and out. All these pages are made out of pattern paper. You can use different sizes. I'll show you how in the tutorial. This flips up. This has a little closure with the cut apart. I just glued it here on the bottom, added the flat back enamel dots, and then this just lifts up and down, and you can attach photos. So I left these without any mats in them here on this side. So I just touch back in and down. And here on the main section, I have tuck spots for photo mats made again out of the cut aparts and with the flat back enamel dots. Here's another one here. This one has a gear on it. This is cut out of the cover sheet that has the title of the paper collection, so you can use those small ones as well. And I did mat it. Oh no, I fussy cut all the way around it. I didn't mat it. This one just slips in here. This is another small one here. This flips open. We have some gears with this cut apart here. So you can use these mats, or you can just mat right straight down on the little page for your photos if you wanted to. This one's a belly band, so this pulls out, and then it has a stopper here on the bottom with a circle, half circles, and the gear. And then this comes over here. We have pockets, tuck spots there. I have a metal washer, a silver one, on the top of the barber pole here, and you can tuck your photo under that. You have another tuck spot here and in here, and then that flips open also. So we have a tuck spot or a pocket here, and I made this one a booklet. So extra 4 photos can go in there, and then this one just has a tuck spot that slides up under there. So that is this little folio. Again, it is 7 3/4 wide by 4 inches tall. Pages created out of scraps from the Retro Men 12 by 12 paper collection that you can order exclusively from Country Craft Creations, and 1 sheet of cardstock in the gray for the cover, and then 1 or 2 sheets of the 12 by 12 craft cardstock, or whatever color you choose, for your mats and matting of your book. So again, it just ties close. See how the metal does not hold. If it had a magnet, it would have held it down. But I didn't decide on these metal items until after, and normally I just tie my folios that are made this way, just tie them closed. So that's going to work for me. And those are just like decorative pull places. So there it is. So stay tuned for the tutorial. To create this little 1-sheet folio, it's 1 sheet because it uses 1 sheet of 12 by 12 artisan cardstock. So I've already cut my pieces and also my pattern pieces. Your pages are made out of your pattern paper as well as any of your mats and flaps. So go through your scraps. I will give you in the cutting list, that's the link in the description below. So you'll check down below in my description of the video. Check that for the cutting list. I'll give you what mine are, but you can vary these in different sizes based on your scraps. So it doesn't have to be exactly the measurements that I gave. Some of mine are a little smaller than the others, and that's the reason why. But I'll give you mine. So let's get started first on assembly of the folio. Okay, to create this, we're going to need our scoreboard. So I have my 12-inch scoreboard. You're going to need it for some of your pattern papers as well as this cardstock. So you need 1 piece that's 7 3/4 by 4. So that's 7 3/4 by 4. No scoring on this. This is the back. And then we need 1 piece that is 6 1/2 by 4. I put the 6 1/2 in at the top and score at 1/2 inch. And then we need 1 that is 4 1/2 by 4 and score on the 4 1/2 inch side at 4. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab our glue and we're going to put these together real quick. After you've scored these, go ahead, take your bone folder and fold these under. This larger one's going to go on the right and the smaller one will go on the left. So fold your score lines and burnish. This one's going to go on the left, the smaller one to the left. So grab your back piece. And you're just simply going to put glue in this 1/2 inch section here. Our glue coming out pretty good here. There we go. And we're going to just line this up so the cut end of this piece here goes right into that fold. Just make sure you've lined it up right up against that fold, not over the fold line, so that when it pulls closed, you go ahead and burnish that. So this is how it looks on the back. You've got your 1/2 inch on the back. Now we're going to do the same for this right side. So take your glue, put it here on the inside of the 1/2 inch section. And my glue is wanting to stay extra thick and clogged up today. So let me loosen this up if I can. We get the glue there on that 1/2 inch section. And again, we're going to line this up right up against the cut edge of the back piece, right up against the cut edge, the fold of the flap, the right hand side. Line those up, make sure that it will fold down, burnish, turn it over and burnish. So there's our little wallet folio. Now, okay, so like I said, we're making this out of different scraps and things that we have. We're going to do the outside cover. So this ends up being a 4 by 4 flap. So I cut 2 that are 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. So I'm just going to glue that on there. Grab the glue. And of course, you make it out of any of the patterns out of this retro paper collection that you want. So I'm putting this piece that I cut out of the car with the gentleman and the 2 cars. So this is going to go right here. So it's an 1/8 of an inch smaller in both directions. So you have about a 1/16 of an inch margin, top, bottom, and sides. So go ahead and put that on and burnish. And then I'm going to open it up. I cut the second one the same size, 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. And I like to just use my art glitter glue on my projects. For me, it's quicker. If you burnish it, it lays down nice and smooth, and it dries clear. If a little bit comes out of the edges, like this, you just go ahead and burnish it really well. And if you want, you can put your mat here to kind of give you a smoother edge. I just want to keep my scoreboard handy because I will be using it soon to make my pages. Okay, so we got that down. And now we're going to go ahead and turn it over and do the back side, which I cut this 7 3/4 by 4, so it's 3 7/8 tall by 7 3/4, 7 5/8. So here on the back, I'm going to just stick this one down right here. Same thing, you're going to have about a 1/16 of an inch margin on all 4 sides. That's going to finish up our back. Okay, there we go. This one is now 6 by 4, so it's 3 7/8 tall by 5 7/8 wide, and that's going to glue right there. And I'm looking at the writing to make sure. So I'm going to put this lighter on the side here on the right. So there we go right there. And to make it easier to see, I'm going to open it up, because once it's over on something, it's a little harder to see, and also it will burnish down easier. Just get a good smooth on that. So that's the cover on the outside flap. So now we're going to build up our pages on this main section here and this side here. So I have my left side first. So we're going to do some scoring. So let's set this aside, and we're going to use our scoreboard on these. So let me lay this out. So my first 2 pieces are the same size, and I cut these out at 6 inches wide by 3 1/2 tall. And I'm going to score my 6-inch side at a 1/2 inch. So I just need to make sure that this is where I want the 1/2 inch, because when it flips over, I want to.
So take both of these 6-inch wide pieces and score it at a 1/2 inch to create a flap that it will attach into the book, and go ahead and fold. Continue scoring your page flap pieces as instructed with the measurements in the score lines in the cutting list. So not all of my video recorded, so here I'm just double checking this one to see how they're going to go in. You put these in the same way you would a waterfall. So my first piece here is going to go right up against the fold of the flap is going to go right up against the fold of the folio. And then the second piece will glue in along the cut line of the one it just added in. So you just keep building this up with different sizes of papers if you want to. All of them are scored at a 1/2 inch except for the last 2, because I was afraid they would not fit in. You could check yours to see. I used a 1/4 inch on the last 2 for this left side. And then I used 1/4 inch for all of the ones on the right to make sure that they fit in. But you can cut and trim as you need to make sure everything fits. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up where I am deciding which direction and which side I want to score my hinge on. Yours will be different because it's based on your scraps or if you're using a different collection.
Now all those pages or flaps that I cut and scored, I put in this larger section here on the, I call it the left, but it's really the middle because you have this flap here. I do apologize, my camera turned off so I don't show how I put these in, but it's really simple if you've done a waterfall, and it can be any order that you want. The different sizes, I have the 2 with the 1/4 inch spaces here on the right, on the last. What I did is glued the 1/2 inch here, then opened it back, lined up the next one, glued that 1/2 inch down, same thing, open it back, glue the next 1/2 inch space down, and so on. So that gives that, and this last one here is a 1/4 inch. The reason I did 1/4 inch because I was afraid it would go over and I wanted this number of pages. So you can make yours a 1/2 inch if you want and bring it over a little bit further. Then here in the center, to cover all that up, I glued down this piece here, which is your inside center piece that's 5.5 wide by 3 7/8 tall. So now we're going to work on the page flaps for this last section here. So for the other side, I cut 3 page flaps. I have one that I cut at 3 3/4 wide by 3 7/8 tall. They're all the same height. And I scored the 3 3/4 edge at a 1/4 inch. These are all done a 1/4 inch to make sure they fit. This one is 4 3/4 wide by 3 7/8 tall. Scored at 1/4. This one goes here. And then the last one is 5 3/8 wide by 3 7/8 tall, scored at 1/4. So those are all going to attach down like the others did. And then we have 2 flaps here at the top and the bottom. So I have one that is 3.5 by 3 7/8 wide. So I'm scoring the 3.5 inch side and a 1/2 inch. Sorry about that. And then the one on the bottom, pay attention to your pattern direction. This one is 4 inches tall by 3 7/8 wide, and I'm scoring the 4 inch side at a 1/2 inch. So that makes the top and the bottom flaps. If you want to punch the corners, you can. So let me grab my mat, and we're going to just glue these in right quick in my page, in my book. Okay, so we take this first one and that little 1/4 inch and pay attention to the direction of your paper. So put some glue on there. And I'm going to glue this one to the cut edge here on the right. The fold of the little hinge right along the edge. Open that up. So you see we've got the directional correct for that. And then I'm going to take, look at this one. This one with the milkman. This is going to go on the other side. So I'll put glue right along this 1/4 inch, and then I'm going to glue this down. Make sure you don't go over the fold of the book, the cover. Burnish. So I'm just going to double check, make sure everything's okay. Whoops, need a little bit more glue. Just hold it down for a minute. Where's my bone folder? It needs to be burnished. That does help. Instead of relying on my hands. There we go. Then we open this up. I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to put this one right here. Right along the cut edge of the one I just put down. And you can add more if you have enough scraps, if you want to. I'm just doing these 3 and then the top 2 right now. This goes along right here. Open that up. Okay, now we need our top flaps. So this is going to be the bottom. I'm going to put the glue on the 1/2 inch. I did use a bigger hinge here on these. And I'm going to center this, line it up on the bottom, and center it side to side. There, and then this top one, and you want to make sure you line them up together. Close that down so I can see. And I'm going to place this right on the cut edge, the fold of this one. And I'm just going to make sure that I line them up. Now I'm not using any magnets in this little album. I don't think it needs them. I'll burnish that down. Then here on the inside, we're going to cut a piece that matches the size of these. So this is going to be wide, and you can use scraps to finish that off if you want to. So this piece here is 3 7/8 wide by 3 7/8 tall. So I'm using the plaid. And when I'm decorating, I will look at my scraps and pull out a couple of strips here for that. Okay, so this closes in. You can do it this way, like that, and then up like this. Okay, so make sure they fold up, and then this closes in. Over that, those others, and next we're going to put a string closure on it on the back. So I have cut 2 pieces about 1 yard of double green button twine jute string, and I tied a knot in each end. So these are each about a yard long, and I'm going to center these, and I'm going to see where I want it to tie it first, so that I don't glue it down without first practicing where I want it to go. So I'm going to tie it right here in the front, about like that. Let's see here, I want a little more, maybe on this left side here, which would be the right, because I've got it upside down. So I'm going to just want to make sure I have enough. What's the other way? Bring us some more this way. There we go. You need to tie it. So just play with it so that you know how much you need on each side, because it's off center. It's not exact. There we go. So that one's about right. Turn it over. It'll be tighter. I'm going to bring this over, and I'm going to take a piece of tape, and I'm going to take this down in the center. Move that up. Helps to have tape that is straight and not folded under. Put it right there. Then I'm going to cover that and make sure I've got the direction correct with this cut apart that I trimmed down. And I'm just going to put that right there over the string. I'm going to put glue on all this. If you like this image better, that's fine. It's kind of pretty. But I'm going to go ahead with the cut apart. You can also mat it to some cardstock if you have scraps of that left. I'm just going to center this and then burnish that on. So that finishes the tutorial of this little 1-sheet folio, 1 sheet of cardstock that you can make really quick. It's kind of like a card. Of course, you just tie it here in the center. So that's this project. This is my 3rd project with the Retro Men. I'm excited to have created 3 different things for you for Country Craft Creations. Make sure, if you haven't already, to subscribe to my channel and click on the bell so that you'll know when I have another project coming up. I've got a hop with Country Craft Creations, the Handmade for Christmas hop coming up on August the 27th. So make sure you subscribe to my channel and click on the bell so you'll know when my videos are ready. And also visit the other designers that are participating with Country Craft Creations. They're all Country Craft Creation designers, and each one will have a project for you starting August the 27th. So subscribe to their channels as well. And make sure that you check for your supplies, your crafting supplies at countrycraftcreations.com. Appreciate you so much. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.